Mr. Kganyago, a very good morning to you. Have you uncovered any such situations where the dispensing of the relief programs is undermined?
Yes, thank you very much and good morning, Desiree, and to your listeners. We have, as a SIU, during the period of the lockdown, received a lot of allegations and from all different parts of the country. In particular, it is from the Eastern Cape and some from Gauteng and in Limpopo and so on. We're so much inundated, but as you know, as a SIU, what we do, we then have to do a proclamation to each and every one of them. We have then since decided that we are going to do one proclamation, what we call National COVID-19 Proclamation, that will then look at each and every transaction that was done as it is being forwarded to us. But we have also, as the SIU during the lockdown, being asked, for example, by the Gauteng Premier's office to go and look at the tender that was awarded, the 30 million rand tender that was awarded. We seconded our people there, and they have since finalized the report, which was given to the Premier. It was done in about 2-3 weeks, and it was given to the Premier, and the Premier will be in a position to announce the outcome of that at the period. But what we have done, as I say, is to make sure that we finalize this, and the President must sign a national one so that we don't have to do each and every municipality and government department and SOE individually.
I know you're saying that the Premier will announce the outcomes, but that particular tender was publicized especially by the opposition parties in Gauteng as being not procedurally correct. Are you able to tell us if there are matters of concern that came out?
Unfortunately, we cannot be the ones that are doing it, Desiree. We have given the report because you must understand there are two ways that we do business. When we do whatever processes through a proclamation, we then take charge of the whole investigation. But in this particular instance, we seconded our people to the Premier's office, which basically means those people for that period, they work for the previous office. Therefore, the prerogative is with the Premier to then say, these are the results of the tender, and he had promised he will do it as soon as possible before the end of this month.
Mr. Kganyago, we might be talking about COVID-19 related issues at the moment in terms of how the different COVID-19 related schemes are being rolled out. But are you able to update us in terms of other high-profile cases within the SIU that were under investigation before COVID-19 as a bigger conversation starts to form about dealing with information that has come out of the state capture process?
Yes, the issue of the state capture, we can only wait for the commission to be finalized. But as a SIU, we have been dealing with a lot of cases, as people might be aware, if some might not be. We were dealing with cases that relate to PRASA. We have got cases that are maladministration that we are dealing with in SAA. We have been dealing with a lot of cases, for example, at the SABC, is the issues around the security tender that has been happening there. We have been dealing with the issues at correctional services, which is what we call the fencing project. As we speak, we've got about 20 cases that are before the tribunal, which are now going to appear before the tribunal very soon to the value of about 2.1 billion that we want to recover from all of those companies. But then during the lockdown, we did the Gauteng one, and the other one that we are busy with is the Bait Bridge fence saga that we are busy with. Our people are busy now working with the Department of Public Works to make sure that those issues are done. Those are some of the high profile, but in total, we are having more than 86 proclamations, and in the past year, we have done about 1,000 reports that we have sent and made sure that are dealt with by us and by the institutions that are involved.
So the state president, in declaring the national state of disaster and all of the relief packages to go with it, said categorically there will not be any toleration or tolerance rather of corruption. Just in terms of how cases land up with the SIU as opposed to the normal law enforcement process, just take us through that.
Yes, the processes that we go through, we either get asked by departments to investigate the issues, and in that case, because the department would be willing to give the information, we then do what we call a secondment, and we second our people to deal with them. In some cases, you find that we are now asked by the public they send emails to us, and the emails are sent to info@siu.org.za, and then we follow up. If there is merit to whatever, we'll then get back to the people and then do the proclamation that relates to that. And then there is also a hotline for people who want to talk to us through a hotline. The hotline number is 0800 037 774. I repeat, 0800 037 774. And if people then contact us, we are able to process all of those allegations that are put there. But people must be aware that we want to get as much information as possible. Therefore, we will get back to you and get all the information before we do proclamation. Because in some instances, people are using it when they are fighting each other for other matters, and we firstly have to make sure that it is valid, and then we go after it and we deal with it. But the other thing that I think needs to be explained here, Desiree, is the fact that we work together with the other law enforcement agencies. Our mandate is to investigate and recover whatever might have been lost or used inappropriately by any institution or any individual. Therefore, if in the process of doing that, we find that there is criminality, we refer this matter to the NPA and the Hawks so that the criminal investigation can happen. But now we have since established that there was no reciprocal way of working where, in a case where NPA and the Hawks, in their criminal investigation, find that money has been lost, in most cases they would leave it to the institution itself. But now we've entered into an agreement that they also must second the recovery part to the SIU so that while they do the criminal side, we then continue with the recovery of the monies that are being lost. Therefore, we are working together as a team to make sure that we achieve where the fact that the president said that we mustn't be tolerant. And I can say to you now, it doesn't matter who you are, we are coming after you. If you are corrupt, we will come after you regardless of who you are, because nobody is above the law.
And Kaizer, just on that point where you say you have to be approached either by the department or by individuals, just in terms of being proactive, 500 billion rand is quite a huge amount, and there's always that possibility for rogue elements to creep in. Just in terms of being proactive, are you working with institutions such as not institutions really, organizations such as the Solidarity Fund or the Social Development Department in their processes of dispersing these funds?
Yes, unfortunately, the kind of work that we do is we can say from where we are sitting that there is going to be some kind of corruption, but we will never know whether there is corruption until it happens. And it becomes a problematic situation because it is done by individuals who are not going through processes. But we are able, if we are called in earlier, to deal with the matter before even a cent is stolen. In terms, for example, if a tender is given to people without following process, we are able to go in quickly through the secondment and be able to say this tender is irregular. Therefore, do not continue with this tender. Therefore, we protect the money from being paid out before it can be paid out. But we would not have known that a certain individual is going to be stealing the money. But that is why that is catered for in the regulations that are coming from national treasuries that will give guidelines on how the procurement is going to be done during COVID-19 because of the emergency nature of the state of disaster.
Well, this might just be a conversation between you and I right now, but it's a huge concern for South African citizens. When the projects were announced, we ask questions on the show regularly on a daily basis, and people would, consistently, people would be saying we are concerned about whether these monies will end up where they are meant to. What would you say to South African citizens right now about how they can help in this process in ensuring that the different relief programs end up where they intended?
Yes, I think government, when we made sure that this is done and the president announced that the monies or the whatever relief is going to go to the people, the intention is purely that it must end up with the intended people. But unfortunately, we know as a country that there are some people who have got corruption as their second nature. Therefore, when that happens, what we are trying to ask the people of South Africa to do is to be vigilant and be able to report it as soon as it rears its ugly head. Because if you do that, you give us an opportunity to get in as quickly as possible, ourselves, the Hawks and the NPA, to get in as possible and deal with that. We will be able as the SIU to recover the money. And then the Hawks and the NPA will follow up the criminal side of things. And all that we can do is, we are all tired of people who are using government money that is intended for the poor and the vulnerable for their own enrichment. And it is only the people that are closer to the environment who can assist the law enforcement agencies by making us aware. Phone us. Make sure we will keep your identity secret and make sure that we follow up with these people who are stealing money.
Dr. Kganyago, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.